No, I didn't have trouble with my straw there. Welcome back to Sippin With Sin, number one podcast about 7 things that are important to everybody across the world, across our astral plane, across Crystal Lake, Haddonfield, all that stuff. You know, it is the number one podcast of the spooky season and such and things. Welcome back. Time of recording this, though, well, the time you guys are hearing this, spooky season has ended, but not really because you're in the future and we still have today and tomorrow spooky season. So yeah, and it's always spooky season around here. So it is what it is. You just deal with it. You like it, accept it. And yeah, getting ready to trick or treat tomorrow and let the little one run wild, hopefully. And hopefully it's not a struggle with costumes, because that apparently is a thing, you know, because everything you want the child to do, they want to do the opposite. So it's like, hey, wear your costume. And they're like, hey, no. And all that fun stuff. But we got lots to talk about, so let's welcome back our esteemed colleague, the one and only, the shapeless dreadlock one, Mr. Christian.
Happy Halloween, everyone. I'm excited for our most glorious day, Halloween. Can't wait.
Totally not playing that. If you're watching, we're both wearing Halloween shirts.
Yeah, definitely didn't plan it, but I mean, I have several Halloween shirts. I'm sure you do too. I'm wearing them as much as possible. But here's the thing: I wear spooky shit like all year round, and during Christmas, everybody's dressed up in their Christmas sweaters and stuff. And I used to have an ugly Christmas sweater that was like all of the '80s slashers, just like trick or treating and stuff. But I outgrew that, so if I can't find a new one this year, I'll just be wearing spooky shit again. But all that to say, it is always spooky season here, and yeah, we didn't plan that, but look at us, look at us, just look at us.
Who would have thought it? We're both wearing the original too. It's not, yeah.
Yours is the original like poster with the jack-o'-lantern knife, and then mine is a scene from the movie, and it is the scene where Michael has killed Bob, and he is wearing the sheet over his head with the glasses. And you can actually see the little logo from the movie at the bottom. It's my right, your left, probably.
R.I.P. Bob.
Yeah, this says the night he came home on the left. Yeah, man, it's one of the scenes from the movie that is iconic. And then on the sleeves for this shirt, I have his mask on the left arm, and then on the right arm, I believe it says. Actually, what does it say? Death has come to your little town, is what it says, and that's in orange. I love this shirt because it's black and orange and white, and I love those colors together. On your shirt as well, Sin. So yeah, man, it just looks good, looks nice. I have another version of this same shirt, but where you see orange, it is purple, and where you see white here, it is also purple. Like, he looks purple, the words are purple, and I believe orange is on the mask here on the side. But anyway, all that to say, yeah, as long as they're selling Michael Myers Halloween gear, I'm going to keep buying it. I'm going to just keep spending money. So here we are.
So speaking of Michael Myers, I didn't have this in my notes for this week episode, but I caught a short, and I want to watch the whole thing. But recently, Rob Zombie did an interview with Howie Mandel on his podcast. Are you familiar with Howie Mandel's podcast? I can't remember the name of it, so.
I think that I just assume that every celebrity has a podcast, but I haven't looked into it.
Well, he's been doing his for a while, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But anyways, Rob Zombie was on there, and the short, obviously it caught my attention because it was Rob Zombie talking about Halloween, and I was like, So I'm intrigued just to hear. And pretty much like the little like snippet of it was essentially it was the most stressful, awful thing. Because he had his vision, and they were talking about how like everybody had done awful and everybody all this stuff, and pretty much like whatever studio he was locked into a contract with, the person, I'm trying to remember the guy's name, would call
Mustafa
like
Akkad?
Who?
Was it Mustafa Akkad?
No. It was not them. It was like, I don't know why I want to say Bob. No, seriously, like he would be it's a name like that would call every day. So I'm assuming they're like one of the heads of the studio or the finance, whatever. But they would call and they would be like actively critiquing everything. And he said at one point they watched like what he had and they said every frame of this movie is trash. And he was just like, okay. And they were just like, it's awful, it's dog shit. Like they just bashed it. And they made him get like this high name editor. And he said pretty much that person just made coffee and like stayed in a room. I didn't let him edit. I just told him, yeah, sure, they're editing. And my editor kept editing because I was like, whatever. And then when the movie come out, obviously Rob Zombie's first Halloween, I want to say like opening night or opening weekend, whatever, did like 30 mil. I think is what he said. And a success. Mm-hmm. And he was like, he said the dude called him at like 10 a.m. and was like, the movie's tanking. He was like, theaters aren't even open yet. How is it tanking? And he said he called him later and he was like, it's going through the roof. Like, I'm getting more screenings. And then he said him and the other exec were like fighting about if they would have listened and done stuff, it could have been a 60 million thing. And then Zombie was like, I'm out. Like, I wasn't doing two. I had no desire. And he said they went through so many directors and stuff. And finally they were like, we need you to do this movie. And he said, here's the deal. He was a 3-picture deal. And he told them, if I get out of my 3rd picture with you guys, I will do Halloween 2. And so they let him do it. That was like his agreement. But he said like he was like, the only thing that he liked about them is when you delivered a script, he handed them the script and they were like, let's make this movie. You started making the movie. Like the movie started going into effect to get made. He said other things like the Munsters and stuff was like years. He's like, is the movie getting made? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then nothing would happen. And like, there's like a lot of long process. But he said they at least were like, let's go. But he said it was the most stressful, like awful experiences doing it. Like it just sucked.
From what I understand, and I'm not trying to just like shit on Rob Zombie right now, but like from what I understand, that's kind of what is to be expected when making movies in Hollywood, especially when you are a filmmaker that is not like of any like acclaim, like Rob Zombie. And then when you have an IP like Halloween, that franchise, us the fans demand so much, but we also want things to be kind of the same, right? Like I would love to see a Halloween movie, like a Michael Myers centric movie that takes place where it is Halloween, where it is snowing and whatnot, but that takes away from the whole feeling of fall and like being out in masks and doing all this and that. Like you wouldn't really see a Michael Myers character in a movie doing what he does around Christmas, right? That defeats the purpose of the movie being Halloween. But when you get a character like Jason Voorhees, you can do whatever the fuck you want because the movies don't have to take place at a summer camp during the summer. You know what I mean? Most of the movies that we have take place at a summer camp, but not during actual summer camp. It's always like before the camp starts or some bullshit like that. We had one movie where it took place during the actual camp, and that's the movie where he comes back to life as a zombie. I'm pretty sure. So actually, I'm positive that's the one where that happens. That's number 5, 6, 6. It's 6. So it happens in that movie, and that movie is funny. Like they purposely made that movie like really silly and comical. But with that said, like I think that what I'm getting at in particular is when you have stuff like Michael Myers and you're trying to make a movie, there's a lot of people who are funding the project, who have things going on and make it difficult for you to do what you want to do. And I understand that made it hell. I know for a fact that he didn't, I know because I've read it and watched interviews, that he didn't want to make the second one. He talked to John Carpenter, got his blessing on it. He told John Carpenter that he was going to make a movie, but it was going to be different. It wasn't going to be the same stuff. He wanted to change some shit up. John was like, sure, do that. And then once he watches the movie, it's the same thing. Like it's the first half of the movie is original enough. You know what I mean? Like it's showing you his backstory, but you just made him you just made Michael Myers you gave him the backstory of what Rob Zombie the character, not Rob Zombie the person. You gave him the character's like backstory origin. You know what I'm saying? He's like a hillbilly, like kind of white trashy character that comes from this super broken, fucked up home and deals with all this shit. And it's like no wonder he's killing people, but he also somehow is built like a brick shit house for no reason. Is incredibly strong, like all these things. Um, and that sucks. I'm sad for him. I'm sad that it was such a shitty experience. I'm sad that it took so much out of him because he was going through so much shit. And I like the first movie that he made. Like
That's what he said. He was like just the energy, like dealing with like the toxicity of like constantly them, just not letting him do his job. And like he said, no one's ever like that hands on like that. Like obviously they're like very hands on, but not like every day, pretty much berating you. He was like,
it sounds like
it was just. He said I was zapped every day before. It was like that battle alone. I was like, fuck. I want to hear the whole interview because I'm actually intrigued, like more of his thought process on it.
It sounds like what it was like making Marvel movies before Marvel Studios was a thing. You know what I mean? Before Kevin Feige came in and like was in charge of how these movies ran. Because a lot of the people that are in charge of these franchises and shit don't give a fuck about the franchise. You know what I'm saying? Like comic book movies, most of the people making a comic book movie haven't even read the comics. They just, hey, it's a character, we can make money, let's do this. Like they don't give a shit. I don't know if you knew, but there was a Flash movie that was supposed to come out in the 90s. After like, the Tim Burton Batmans and shit. But there was a Flash movie that was coming out, and I got to read that script because it was online for a while, and they didn't even try to make that character like he's supposed to be in the comics. They just made some shit up. I'm pretty sure aliens came down. Long story short, it was something to do with aliens. He gets this crazy power to be fast. It's really weird. It doesn't have anything to do with anything like I don't even remember the villain that he's fighting, but it doesn't have shit to do with like the Flash lore. It's just ridiculous, and it's kind of like how Michael Bay was intending to make the Ninja Turtles movies, where they're not even mutant Ninja Turtles; they're like aliens that for some reason look like weird turtle creatures, like that kind of thing. And I'm just like, why are these people that have the money and the time to make these movies happen, especially with some kind of speed? Like why not focus on the source material or just make something up yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like I know it's easy for literally me and anybody else to say, we want original content, but I will say there's people making movies that are pretty original, but nobody wants to go see that. Like they're not spending that type of money to go see those movies. But yeah, man, that sucks for Rob. I'm sorry that happened to him.
It was Bob. It was Bob Weinstein. Is who?
Well, there you go. There you go. There you fucking go. That's
so Dimension put it out. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Dimension had the rights to Halloween for.
Okay, so there you go. That's who called him H2O? Like literally, he's like every pretty much day. Like he would just see the phone and be like, "Oh shit, here we go." Like, but after the movie got made $30 million, I forgot to say, Bob was like, "I love every single frame." He was like, "It's the exact same shit that he hated like a few months before." Like nothing had been changed. Right. It's just like okay, whatever.
Sounds about right.
But yeah, so we deviate. That's my fault. But let's talk about watching, reading, listening to, or playing. I guess I'll start because I don't know. Do you have a lot? I'm mostly just talking about the movies I watched.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. So since the time of recording, I have watched Halloween Season of the Witch. Underrated one. I'm not gonna lie. I used to not like it because it was in the Halloween franchise, and it just made me mad because Michael wasn't in it. Being the fan of Michael I am. The more I watch it, I do wish it was on its own. Like I wish it wasn't under the umbrella. I understand that things were different. And they weren't trying to continue Michael, but yeah. But as a whole, I do enjoy that movie. I like Season of the Witch. It's fun to watch. It's a cool story. So watch that. Watched the remake of Fright Night. Have not watched the original this year. We watched the remake just because Mrs. Sin loves Colin Farrell, and she really likes the remake. So around the time of I think it was our anniversary night, that's the movie she picked. She got to pick the spooky movie that night, so she picked Fright Night. Watched the original Friday the 13th because you have to watch that. So I've already watched that in the last couple months like twice now. because I got to go see it in theaters. Like, this old theater had it playing, and I couldn't miss the chance to watch it in theater, which was a super awesome experience. We watched The Fly, which is always a good creature feature. And then we watched Terrifier 2 because Mrs. is like, you know what, we need to, I got to experience these, I guess. I have to go through them. She'd watched Terrifier 1, so we watched Terrifier 2. And I'm not going to lie, I noticed more this time because I guess the first time, like, I wasn't fully locked in. This time I paid more attention to the story and stuff. I really like the, like, synthwave song they use for Sienna. Like, kind of like her song. I really dig that song. Yeah. I think it's called Chrissy by, I forgot something. We watched Terrifier 2, and then we watched Halloween H2O. And look, I have a tiny thing. Obviously, you guys have ever listened to this podcast. You know, me and Christian both like Halloween H2O. I still really like it. I think Halloween H2O is a really good story. I do have tiny qualms. One of them we've already complained about enough. Michael Myers' mask, yes, is awful. We all can agree. I don't like the mask in that movie. My other issue is with Michael. He moves too fast in that movie. He's a little too fast.
And the guy who played him was like, yeah, I was imagining in my head Michael being a panther. I was like, what the fuck? Like
he gets hit with a rock in one scene where, like, I can't think of her name. Josh Hartnett, John's girl, whacks him with a rock, and he falls down, and then he, like, kind of pops up kind of quick, and I was like, oh shit, that's not really what the Shade does. He's more of like the Undertaker, like, slow sit up, and I'm just gonna keep relentlessly stalking you, not just like pop up at you. So the movement, yeah, you know.
Yeah, I have some stuff about that movie too, but
there's parts that are bad. But as a whole, story is good though.
Yeah,
I like the story.
There's some stuff that I want to bring up too for that movie, but I think I'll wait until, because I'm actually, full disclosure, that the time of this recording, I plan on binging like as many of the Halloween I can between today and the end of the day tomorrow. So I will be going through pretty much all those because I've only watched the original.
I haven't even watched the original this year.
I watched the original this month, but I haven't watched like the rest of them yet. And that was on purpose mostly. I've also just been really busy. I got a lot of stuff going on like everybody else. So, you know, stuff happens. And I've also Halloween been trying to
Halloween and Trick or Treat.
Been trying to bust out some stuff, yeah.
I save them for the end. That's usually like my grand finale, if you will, like my go-to. I know I love them. I try to incorporate more like newer stuff this year. Like Mrs. N hadn't seen The Fly and stuff like that. I tried to like add that in. Obviously Terrifier. And then the last movie I've watched that we watched last night, Terrifier 3. We watched Terrifier 3.
Oh, nice. What was that?
And I have a couple thoughts, but before I go into the thoughts of those, I wanted to just let you know what this franchise has done. This franchise has literally printed money. Like, it is crazy. So Terrifier 1, the budget was $35,000. It grossed $342,000. And I have to say, for $35,000, I've seen way worse movies. Like, it's not that bad for $35,000. You know, obviously, you can tell the scale gets bigger. They do more stuff. But truthfully, it's not that bad. Terrifier 2, the budget was $250,000. They made $15.6 million at the box office. I mean, like I said, they're printing money. You look at the budget, you look what they're making. They are, Terrifier 3, the budget was $2 million. Like, we have really stepped the bar up. So far, they have made over $50 million at the box office. Crazy money. Terrifier 3. So I avoided the spoilers. Mrs. Sim was really excited. She was like, I want to see what all the hype's about. That's part of the reason she wanted to go through the Terrifiers. She was like, do I need to watch 2 before 3? And I was like, yeah, I would say so.
Yes.
So we watched 2 before 3. She agreed because 2 gets to a point I'm like, okay, the movie could have ended. Like me and Christian have said, 30 minutes could be cut off that movie and it wouldn't hurt. Like, it's not needed. Terrifier 3 is shorter. I think it's 2 hours and 4 minutes. So better instead of what, like 2.5 or whatever the other one was. Still, some of the stuff at the end, a little bit, but not too bad. The budget, you can tell they do so much stuff. There's so many scenes. One of them in particular, I laughed, and Miss Sim was like, "What the hell is wrong with these people?" And I was like, "That was hilarious." Like, you didn't have to know that's coming. There's one scene in particular. Christian, have you heard about any of the scenes?
The only scene that I have heard of or seen at all is, I'm assuming at the very beginning, goes into some house and like beats the dog shit out of some kids, but it's like off screen. You hear the sounds and squelching and stuff. That's all I know of from the whole movie.
Okay. There's one that's like going around internet that Miss Sin kept relating to. She was like, "I wonder when the shower scene happens." And I was like, "Oh God." So apparently, like, people are like freaking out over shower scene. Shower scene is pretty cool. Not gonna lie, the first half of it, I was like, I've seen it. Like, it's whatever. It comes to a point where I was like, okay, that's wild. But
like in a violent nature wild, or
I mean, do you want me to
else?
tell you what happens? Is that gonna ruin it?
I mean, I don't think so. You know
Look,
what you're
I'm
getting
assuming
into
this
when
is
you go
the
see
part
Terrifier.
people are talking about, because unless, look, okay, I'll set up the shower scene. 2, a couple are hooking up in a shower in
Right.
what seems like a dormish area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's your shower scene. Art has a chainsaw,
but they can't hear for some reason.
Oh, they hear it.
Okay.
As he's like, rum, 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 like outside the glass.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to... The part I'm assuming is what everybody's freaking out over. Because, like, obviously he starts slashing and, like, cuts are happening. And he does normal art, goofy stuff. The part, if you want me to tell you, and if you guys don't want to ruin, pause for just a second or mute. Christian, do you want to know the part I think?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So as the dude is trying to get away, Art has hit his leg, so his leg's like almost falling off. He rips it off. Whatever, that's been done. But then he takes the chainsaw and shoves it in the dude's ass. And starts chainsawing him. And starts chainsawing him from the ass. And I was just like, okay, so literally he shoved a chainsaw up his ass.
Got it.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that's what everybody's talking about, because I was like, okay, that's different. I never saw Leatherface shove a chainsaw in someone's ass, but okay. You know. I will say what makes the franchise for me is Art. Art is just hilarious. His mannerisms, because he's so goofy and funny at times. And 3 is more of that, from his interactions with like a Santa to even like listening to the people talk and things he does, because it is a Christmas movie. Also, I did not realize the little boy, Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know he was like a YouTube? He used to interview like metal bands and stuff.
I did not know that.
Something punk. So like he's like been around metal stuff. Yeah.
Good for him, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. Like, I don't know. I think I told her last night, the dude said he's doing like 1, maybe 2 more. Like, he's not going to keep this going forever.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And with the way it's printing money, there is a good chance they either back up a truck to him or they just hire someone else to like keep it going, which then it would go downhill because, you know, they kind of have the lightning in the bottle with like how much money they're making on it and the story, like what's going on. I think the story's okay. It does get wild. If you watch Terrifier 2, you kind of know how it starts going more into what, like supernatural-ish stuff.
Yeah.
It's getting a little out there on the story, but it's fun. I'll watch it again. I enjoy Art. Art, he's fun. He's a different take. He's ruthless, but his mannerisms, pretty good.
What I'll say, I'm going to try to keep this quick because I know we're going to run out of time here soon, but like, when it comes to Art the Clown, when it comes to the Terrifier films, like I like them, but I like them because I know what I'm getting into when I'm watching them. I'm not expecting a cool story. I'm not expecting anybody to reinvent the wheel. I'm not expecting to see a horror character that really just comes in and just makes me like believe in horror again. I'm just here to see this mimey clown kill some people in really brutal ways just because. You know what I'm saying? Like the Terrifier movies are like akin to splatterpunk, right? That's all it is. Splatterpunk. That's what it is. So when you watch those, knowing what splatterpunk is, you're like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm coming in to watch these whoever get brutally murdered, and then I go home, or then I go to bed, whatever. So I watch those and I enjoy them for that, but I don't think that they're groundbreaking. I don't think that they're the best thing in horror. I don't think that Art the Clown is like the new coolest icon. Is he a horror icon? He is because of what you just said. Because those movies just print money. But the same could be said for a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? A lot of other movies, a lot of other franchises that have done the same thing. Come in, they're made pretty much 60% of what Blumhouse has done. You know what I'm saying? You take a movie and you just give a little bit of a fuck, you make it super cheap, pay everybody super cheap, and then the movie just makes hella money. Right? That's how companies, that's how these studios like make movies that like do really well. They make them for cheap, sell them,
I think
and
he's
then
an
they make their
icon
money
because we
back.
are starving for an icon. We haven't had an icon in
Yeah,
forever.
I
And the
mean,
fact that
it's
these
true.
movies are successful, and we're 3 deep in and they're still making money, whether or not the people love the
Yeah,
ratings of it. Like I said, it's not the best thing. And if you go looking for a great story in a slasher,
yeah,
you're in the wrong genre for like a
yeah.
great story. Yeah.
Especially
They
now
are
for
trying
sure.
to
I
do something
think,
different, but it is out there.
yeah,
I will say that. But I
exactly.
mean, he's at
Exactly.
least he's like a Freddy that doesn't talk, like as far as like the goofy kind of slapstick shit, but he's ruthless like a Jason or something.
Hmm. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Art the Clown. I like the Terrifier movies. I don't love them, but I like them, and I like them because, like I said, I know what I'm getting into when I
Yeah.
watch them.
They're very
And
gory.
that's pretty much it. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, no, that's what they're made for. So
Yeah.
here we are. But yeah, man. So what else did you watch? Was that it? Was it the last one?
That's been about it.
Nice. Well, then I'll do mine real quick because mine's a lot shorter than yours. I did watch the original Halloween. I watched some stuff that we'll talk about here in a little bit. As far as just watching things, I have been slammed with stuff this week. The little bit of free time I did have, I used that to draw. And you guys who follow me on socials will see that tomorrow. I'm just getting everything edited so that I can post it, maybe make like a little reel or talk about it. And I'll post that art up tomorrow on our most glorious day, of course. But as far as just watching stuff, I just haven't had the time. If I'm honest, I have been reading. I started. I read a couple of horror books, and some of them were cool. The last one I remember reading and like really feeling anything from it was called Mayfly, and I did enjoy that one. It was interesting to say the least. It is a slow start, but once it started getting into the story, it was cool, um, and I enjoyed that. But I honestly, y'all, I just had to hop back on to Game of Thrones. So I'm reading the third book right now, Storm of Swords. Um, I'm not even halfway through. I'm like almost at the halfway point. And for context, this is the book. So if you're doing the seasons, this would be where Jamie Lannister loses his hand. This is where the Red Wedding happens. Um, all things like that of that nature. That's where this is. So in the book so far, um, let's see, just rapid fire. Sansa was married to Tyrion. Shay is different in the books than she is in the show. I will say she's not pissed off at Tyrion for having to marry Sansa. She knows about it before Tyrion tells her, and she's cool with it. She's cool with just being Tyrion's like side piece essentially forever, as long as he treats her right. Like she kind of in the books right now, she's just like super into him, and he's like here for it. But he also likes Sansa. Like he thinks she's super pretty, and he wants her, but he also isn't going to forcefully do anything. She's gonna wait. for her to want him, which we know is never going to happen. So that's weird to me because I know that in the book, Sansa is 13, which crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. But yeah, that's happening. Daenerys has just purchased, excuse me, the Unsullied army, and she has burned all the masters, which is cool. She's doing a lot of really cool stuff. She's coming up with some ideas. A lot of stuff's happening. We haven't met Grey Worm yet in the book from where I am, but I'm pretty sure that's coming up like the next chapter. Um, we meet Oberyn Martell. I just read the chapter where we met him, and it's different in the book than it is in the show because in the show I remember Oberyn has the speech with Tyrion where he tells him about how he met Tyrion before. And Tyrion's like, I don't know, we never met. And he's like, I met you when you were a baby, so of course you don't remember me. Jamie and Cersei kept talking about you. Cersei told everybody that you were a monster and this and that. And I met you, and yeah, you had stunted legs, but you were just, and your head was like a little bit big, but you were just a baby. And she tried to pinch, you know, your junk, and then Jamie told her to stop because you were screaming. That story that he tells him that story in the show because he's agreeing to be his champion once Tyrion is falsely accused of the murder of the king, Joffrey. But in the book, that's like the story that he tells Tyrion, like right off the bat, like when they meet, and it's really cool. So it's obviously in the show the drama of it is much better. Like I will be your champion, that kind of thing. But here he just tells that story like they've only been talking for a couple minutes, and then he busts out with that story, just to let Tyrion know like people are afraid of you. They don't like you for this. They don't like you for that. They call you this. They call you that. Especially your family. But to me, you're just another dude. Like I don't give a fuck. I'm here for one reason and one reason only. That's to get revenge on my sister. And if you get in my way, I'll split you in half. Like simple as that. Speaking of splitting, Tyrion's face is all fucked up. The way they describe it in the book is way worse than the show. It's not just a scar. Like his nose is gone. Like his face is fucking wrecked, bro. He looks worse than Phantom of the Opera. Like he's fucked up. So people are super afraid of him. Shay's the only one who treats him normally right now, and Jamie just got his hand cut off. Um, that scene is not as intense as it is in the show, obviously, because you're reading it and the way that it happens about the same but a little different. That's happening. He talks way more shit to Brienne, uh, and it's really annoying actually how much shit he talks to Brienne because she's like clearly like one of the best characters in the show. But because I'm rereading this and I've forgotten a lot of stuff, it's a little different. So they just had the scene where Jamie's in the bath with her, and he tells her the story about why he killed the king, why he's called the Kingslayer, how all that happened. For those of you who've seen the show, you already know what I'm talking about, so I won't get into it too much. But it's just really cool to read that. It is different, and I really do enjoy it. Um, and he saves Brienne from getting absolutely assaulted. Like she was, good God, what they were gonna do to Brienne of Tarth was awful. So good on Jamie for not being a total piece of shit in that moment. But yeah, man, I'm just reading through it, and I'm getting closer and closer to the Red Wedding. Every single time we get a chapter for Catelyn, I'm just like, this isn't going to end well. This isn't going to end well. Also, John has joined the Wildlings. He didn't want to break his vows, but he finally, ended up hooking up with God, what I Egret. So all that's happening. They're getting ready to climb the wall. They actually already climbed the wall from where I am and lost a bunch of people, but shit happens. And John is trying to figure out what he's going to do to save his brothers. Sam is also trying to protect Gilly. He's already killed a White Walker, which was in the last book, and I believe they just killed the captain of the Night's Watch, like the betrayal and stuff. And he told Sam to run, and take Billy and warn everybody what's happening and blah blah blah. So that just happened. But yeah, that's where I'm in the book. It's really cool. It's really interesting. There's a lot of information to read. So much. This has so much going on. It's a lot of plot points. Walder Frey and how crooked he is. He's a little fuck. So much going on in this book, dude. But I love it. Anyway, as far as watching stuff, I think I already said that I watched the original Halloween. That's about it. Been reading. I've been drawing. But like I said, I'll show you guys that tomorrow. But that's pretty much been what I can talk about. No new news either. Like, there's not a lot that has happened with, this happened during this week that I was rushing to tell you guys. But I'm excited. I did get to play a little bit of Dragon Ball, but I played for like maybe 15 minutes. So like by the time I got into the groove of playing the game, it was time to get off. So does that even count?
This guy flexing his games. See how it is.
But yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's been me for this week.
All right. Well, should we waddle into our first main topic?
We should.
All right. Penguin episode
6.
God, dude, where's the season went? Penguin episode 6. I did not write notes. Again, I have no desire to sit there and write notes when I'm just enjoying my hour of TV in the show. I'm enjoying a show for me as much kid stuff as I have to watch.
Exactly. I mean, we've said it plenty of times, and I'll just keep saying it. But this year, as far as TV shows go, we've been eating good this year. We got House of the Dragon. We got X-Men 97.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, X-Men 97 was hit after hit after hit after hit. Each episode gave us something not only to talk about, but to remember. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of remembering, the Gambit's episode, remember it. Like, oh my God. Like, all of that stuff was fantastic. Seeing Storm and her getting the respect she deserves for being an Omega level mutant, fantastic. All the people who don't read comics, who don't know how fucking badass Storm is, going into this show.
We got Christian off his tangent. He's gone on a Storm tangent. Christian, back on track.
I am. Back on track. Storm's great.
Yes, X-Men 97
Penguin's been great.
We got to keep him focused.
But we're eating good. We're eating good.
House of the Dragon, boys.
And the Penguin's been fantastic.
What else do we have? Invincible?
That was last year, I think.
No, Invincible was this year. They
was
split
this year?
it.
It was.
This was the second. It was the second half of this year. No, first half.
You're absolutely right.
Didn't it start like November of last year and then wrapped
and then we got the rest.
Oh, speaking of which, there's next year's new season, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's the full season.
Yeah, I love how they did that. They're just like, no bullshit, no mid-season break. You're training, we're doing this. 2025 may be a banger. Last of Us 2, Daredevil Reborn, Invincible.
Daredevil Reborn, and they did drop a little teaser for that today.
I'm ready for
time
that.
It's recording. God, I'm so excited for Daredevil. I hope that it's good, dude. Like, please don't fuck this show up. I love that character. I love the Netflix version of the character.
They just have to follow that.
Don't ruin
follow that blueprint. That's all you have to do.
Don't take that from us, dude. Let us have that.
2025 could be good. We'll see. Hopefully they bring us some amazing shows. But yeah, out of all those shows you listed, I would still say, arguably, in my opinion, Penguin is the best show of 2024.
Yeah.
And the show has done nothing to sway me otherwise.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It builds characters. You give a shit about characters that, truthfully, you probably shouldn't care about because they're all pretty shitty people if you look at it in the grand scheme of things. But they do such a good job of showing what little humanity these people have that you actually care. Or they take one that's more pure, such as a Victor, and they show the descent. And I am so excited to talk to you about the end of this episode. And I want to touch on something, but I mean, I'm going to let you do your thing with this episode if you want. I loved it. Every episode's been good. There's nothing. I've yet to find something that I'm just like, man, I wish they didn't do that. One thing I will say I really love, I don't know if this is in your notes or not, Oz's outfit for
Yeah,
most of the episode with the big coat and like the suspenders. I was like, damn, that is the most penguin looking he has been.
he looks like Penguin from the Arkham games.
Yeah. I was like, man, I really like how he looks right now. It made me happy. There's two character moments in this though. Well, there's more. There's a lot that happens, but there's some stuff I can't wait to like talk about. But I'm gonna let you do your thing, unless you just want me to jump. But it's gonna jump pretty far in the episode.
I mean, what I did this time was I wrote notes, but I wrote them differently. So instead of just writing out the entire episode and all the notes from the episode that way, what I ended up doing this time around was specifically talking about little points throughout the episode, like that I
Okay.
noticed. So I'll just go ahead and start. Keep it simple. First thing I noticed is that we see that winter is definitely coming for Gotham.
Yep.
This seems to be November, and we already know that the second Batman movie is supposed to take place like 2 or 3 weeks after the show, the Penguin ends. So I'm assuming that the Batman 2 is going to be a Christmas film, just like Batman Returns was. That way, that gives me an excuse to watch that movie every year and make it a family ritual, and essentially force my wife into joining me on that. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's what I'm assuming right now. I'm assuming that movie is going to come out and it's going to be a Christmas film. So I'm very excited for that prospect. I also noticed that when Oz mentions to his troops that Sophia doesn't like her own name, that the Maronis, I'm sorry, not Maronis, but the Falcons don't like their own name. That's because she's not going by that name anymore. So that's really cool. He mentions the Maronis. Then we also know that Maroney's out. He's living with Sophia, which is insane. Um, Also, if he's out, that means that we could get a trial for him. And if there is a Maroney trial, that could easily be the origin story for Two-Face, because in The Long Halloween, that was his origin story. Maroney was supposed to, testify against Falcone, and that's when he throws the acid in Harvey Dent's face to essentially put him on the path to becoming Two-Face. And they had it like that for a while until they changed it around. But it just depends on who's telling the story, what origin they're going to go with. Um, we get a Bruce Wayne on the motorcycle fake out because we find out that instead of Bruce Wayne driving through the tunnels, getting to the abandoned like subway station, it's Victor. He's being a bagman again, so that was kind of cool. Um, they showed us that in the trailers a while ago, and they told us Batman wasn't going to be in it. So I figured if Batman's not going to be in it, that means Bruce isn't in it either, which means that wasn't going to be Bruce. I didn't know that it was going to be Victor, but that was cool that's who they had up there, because like I said, he's pretty much my favorite character in the show. I don't think he's the best character. I don't think he's the most well acted character. I think that goes to Sophia, but Victor is just the character right now that I love to see on screen. Um, Oz tells his people that if they're asked about the cash, the large amounts of cash that they have, to say it's for construction, or they got it in construction. And that's just because construction is like one of the biggest things going on in Gotham right now because of what the Riddler did, which we know about from watching the show / the movie. Um, on the drugs, on the Bliss drugs, you see that spiral logo. That logo looks like Mr. Bloom from the New 52 Batman comics. But in those comics, the drugs that he gave to people that had that logo on it, they gave people temporary powers. So that's different. But I figured that they were doing that on purpose. Power is only going to rich neighborhoods. If you're poor in Gotham right now, you don't have power. And then Oz gets it back going for him, his area, for his mom's area, and also for money, because he wants people to be able to have electricity so that he can give them the bliss, blah, blah, blah. I also picked up on the fact that Vic is stuttering again, and he tells Oz that he's was spotted by the Gigantes, but they didn't see him go into the sewer tunnel, or not sewer tunnel, but the tunnels in general, which is cool. Also, I had this to say last week, and I put it on a sticky note to make sure that I remembered this week. But I think Rex Calabrese is going to end up being Penguin's dad because they never talk about his dad. And then also some stuff that happens in this episode further alludes to that I'll get to here in a second.
Who?
Rex Calabrese, the gangster that he's all about, that he idolizes, that he wants to be like.
Oh, the one. Okay, yeah, okay. The chariot. Yeah. Okay, follow.
Yeah, I think that's his dad. I know I'm kind of jumping the gun, but the squid thing, I wrote that in here a little too early, I think, so I'll come back to it. But we see Dr. Rush tied up in the chair, all sweaty and scratched up because he's got this like sub/dom relationship with Sophia right now, who obviously doesn't really give a shit about him, but she knows that he is obsessed with her, and she's just using that, whether that's for D or for help. It doesn't matter. She's still using this man, and I think that one of two things can happen. One, he's going to end up being a more prominent figure in Gotham, being a character that we know with a different name. Or he's going to get fucking popped at the end of this. We'll see what happens.
That's one of my first ones. Why do I have the feeling? Because he makes a comment afterwards, and like she's untying him, and says, "When you find Oz, let me know because I can use. That's my specialty or something." Which makes me think he's going to become something, whether that's Doctor Strange or a Scarecrow. Something. I feel like they're setting him up to be some kind of character, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes more sense for him to be Victor Zsasz than Victor to be Victor Zsasz. But
we're getting to that in a little bit. I have more stuff to talk about. Like, this was the episode of I feel like they're teasing us. Like they're like, oh, you want your theories? Here we go. Here's like, we're going to just dangle this in front of you and like just really screw with you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like he's going to be something. We could be wrong. He could get popped next episode. I don't know.
You don't know. I will say, like, I didn't say this last week either, but remember in the last episode 5, when Sophia pretty much told her gang that it's all about loyalty and stuff, and she poured out all that money to give to everybody so they would stay loyal to her. Notice that Dr. Rush didn't reach in to take any of that money because he's not in it for the money. He's in it for the power.
Who did you say? You called him Calendar Man, didn't you?
Yes.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Give us, dude, that would be dope. Give us an off-the-wall character that we haven't had. I'm for that.
Because Calendar Man's real name, I think, is Julian Rush. I'm pretty sure that's his name anyway. Like,
well, then that's the same name.
Hold on. I might be saying
I'll
that
look
wrong.
it up. I'll look it up. You go ahead. Continue with your notes. Calendar Man.
Okay, cool.
Christian's on it.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, Julian Rush is his name in the show, correct?
Yeah, you're right. It is Julian Rush. It is Julian Rush, but Calendar Man's name might be something else. Something else.
No, it's Julian Gregory Day.
That's what it was. Day. Sorry. I don't know how I messed that up. But it's Julian. It's still Julian, right?
He could always be like, my name is Gregory or Julian Day. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, he's going to be somebody. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean.
They're just setting up.
They're
He's
setting
got
that
a
up.
devious look to him. And the way he's like learning Sophia's thing. I feel like they're building him to something. I don't know.
I mean. I know that there's a dinner scene with Sophia and Sal Maroni, and their relationship feels like a father-daughter relationship, which is crazy because they both hate Sophia's dad, Carmine, and they're using all of his best stuff. They're using his best wine, his finest, china, essentially, to eat with while he's cooking these dishes.
He makes the comment, the wine was collecting dust just like your dad.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a start to a dinner party.
It's crazy. And also, like, the last time we talked about that actor that plays Sal Maroni, we were talking about Dexter. Remember that?
Yep.
Insane.
He's from SpongeBob, right?
Yeah, he's Mr. Krabs.
Okay.
He's Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob. He's Lex
a gangster
Luthor in the
Penguin.
90s.
Go figure.
Yeah, he's Lex Luthor in the '90s Superman animated TV show. Like he's a lot of voices. He is everywhere. But anyway, so that happens. Um, Oz goes to his mom's apartment. We see that it's a mess. She's having an episode. She tells him at one point that she's going to go to Rex for help, which is another reason why I think that Rex is Penguin's dad. Whether that's legitimate or not, I think that's the case. They keep alluding to that, and the way that Penguin idolizes this guy that he apparently doesn't know is just kind of, so it's getting a little weird. Um, Oz is upset with Victor for pretending to be his dead brother for Francis, which is Penguin's mom. Also, he is clearly in denial about the severity of his mom's situation. I know that she's not in a home because he wants to keep her off the radar, but he's Penguin. He could have easily found her, a new identity essentially, so that he could put her in a home that so nobody would know. But whatever, what Penguin does, Oz does a lot of shit in the show that's stupid, but he also talks his way out of a lot of stuff as well. So we'll see what happens with that, which we're gonna get to here in a second. But I think he's probably gonna have to kill his mom in the final episode because it just makes the most sense. In the comics, Penguin's mom dies and then he becomes the actual Penguin that we know from the comics. So I think in this, he even says either in this episode or the last episode for him to, pretty much kill her if things get too bad, if her episodes are too bad, because she doesn't want to live like that. So I think after the events of the end of this episode, he's gonna have to do that, or she's just not gonna make it. And I think he's gonna have to put her out of her misery. I think he's gonna have to put her out of her misery. Then he's gonna become full-fledged Penguin after that. With tuxedos and shit. Sophia sends a message to Oz. She cuts off the fingers of the dealers, just like Alberto. They're also hanging on Byrne Street, which is a nod to John Byrne, who is a legendary comic creator. He worked on Marvel and DC. When he worked in DC, he made up the character Magpie, who was in episode 4 of the show. Magpie was the character who everybody thought was Harley Quinn that
Got
Sophia
the
ended up
face smashed
killing.
in.
Yeah. So yeah, that's who that was. Oz can't really sell the bliss right now, so he has a new plan, which is actually a straight up James Bond villain plot. But he's going to give away bliss for free. Everybody's first hit's going to be free. He's going to get everybody hooked. But they come back to him and they're willing to pay anything to feel that. And I'm pretty sure that's a James Bond villain plot device. Like I think his name is Mr. Big, if I'm not mistaken. But whatever. I don't watch James Bond a whole lot, so I'm vaguely remembering that. This is when we get the whole Victor / Squid scene. Victor comes out of a store with new clothes, new shoes. Squid shows up and is essentially trying to muscle him out of what he's doing. He threatens Penguin's mom. He talks about the Burgess warehouse, or not warehouse, but the Burgess store that he's going into. Burgess is a nod to the actor who played Penguin in the Adam West Batman from 1966. So that was kind of cool. They threw that in there. But with Vic, Squid's trying to muscle him out of what he's doing. And Vic kills this dude. Like, didn't want to, obviously, but he eventually does. And in the episode later, when he talks to Oz about it, Oz pretty much tells him, like, it gets easier. And I was like, God damn, that's the only advice that you have? This kid is traumatized. He just killed a guy. But, whatever. I thought that was interesting and very, very telling. Sal and Sophia break into Oz's home. She finds his cigar cutter, which is obviously going to come back in the finale because that's the only thing that she takes. I also thought it was funny that Sal sees Penguin's like fake fireplace or whatever and calls it tacky, which is the same thing Sophia did in like episode 3, I think it was. She finds the picture of Eve. She goes to Eve. She confronts her. She's also getting ready to torture her, but Eve kind of cracks. And then she also tells Eve that Oz is lying about all the friends that she had that died in the club because he was lying to cover that up for Carmine. So Eve kind of figures out that Oz is a POS to her, just like he's a POS to everybody. Oz Talk no Jutsu's his way to getting all these gangs together against the Gigantes, which I thought was really cool. But the biggest part of this episode was the finale of it, which is the part where Vic is making Francis, Penguin's mom, feel a lot better. The power's on, they're celebrating, and we see that they are being watched by Sophia. So Sophia has followed him to Francis's house, which is Penguin's mom, and the next episode's going to be fucking crazy because
Whoa, 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 whoa,
obviously
whoa, whoa, whoa! What's in
so
Sophia's hand?
the is the cutter, the cigar cutter. Wait, I forgot what was in her hand.
Wasn't it a
I forgot.
crowbar?
I didn't write it. I don't think it was a crowbar, was it?
It looked.
It
When
might
I
have
watched
been.
it, I
It might
thought
have
she
been.
was holding like a crowbar. Like,
You know what? It might have been because they used the crowbar to break in the apartment. So
all I could think
yeah, my
of
bad.
when I saw Victor dancing was you
Jason
debunking
Todd.
the Red Hood thing previously, and there they are.
Uh-huh.
This man just got his first kill. He's been fairly pure, and if he gets beat down with a crowbar, I don't know. Could you? That'd be such a weird way to bring a Red Hood. Would you be mad if Victor was Red Hood though? Would you be pissed?
I would be pissed, and let me tell you why.
You would?
We haven't gotten. Yeah, I would be pissed for a couple of reasons. One, we don't have any Robins whatsoever yet. So why would we be getting a Red Hood now?
Because we don't need a Robin.
If we get a Red Hood and he comes about because he got beat with a crowbar by anybody other than the Joker, and it just takes away from the whole experience because the Joker is the reason why he becomes Red Hood. He wouldn't even choose the name Red Hood if it wasn't for Joker, because that was Joker's original name. So
maybe he's gonna become Black Mask. Maybe it's gonna be like a complete change.
My God, it's not getting any better. I think that one of the reasons
I saw that
why,
crowbar and I was like, oh shit, what are we about to do? What's about to happen to Victor's all I could think about is we're about to scar this dude and he's about to go down a descent.
Now that makes sense to me.
What is he gonna be though? I don't think
gonna be
he's
fucked up is what he's gonna be.
Unless next episode changes. I don't get that. Who could he be?
Yeah, I've never seen the Zaz comparison. I don't know where people are getting that from, but they're getting it.
That's it.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. But does it it makes sense that that's where they're getting it from? But nothing about Victor screams Victor Zaz at all. So I'm just wondering why that's the case for people. It's just weird to me. It's just weird. That's all. It's just weird.
Who do you think he could be?
I think he's just his own character, to be honest.
Or do you think he's collateral damage about to get killed?
Yeah, I mean, there is no Victor in the Penguin comics, the Penguin storylines.
I mean, is that essentially if she kills Victor and leaves Oz's mom for pretty much dead, where he has to finish the job? Is that essentially him being like, this was the last tiny bit of humanity that this character had, and now he is a full-fledged, just awful person?
100%.
Is that
he's already an awful person
for the show or for the movie?
Most
Penguin
likely
is not dying. He is not dying in the show. I don't see it. I don't know what kind of role he'll have in the movie because I don't foresee him being the main baddie. I mean, I guess he could.
I don't think that he's going to be the main bad guy of the next movie. I think that he'll be a character that's mentioned a couple of times and probably come back in the third film. And I think by the time we get a third film, we'll have more than one villain, and Penguin will just be one of them, to be honest. But we'll see what happens. I think that it's just cool the fact that we even have this character in general. I think that it's like Victor, I think, is just a character who happened to be really cool, and they named him Victor because that's an old school Hispanic name. The character is Hispanic or Dominican, excuse me. So it just makes sense. And I think that we as fans are trying to grab hold of anything that we can to make him a character from the comics because that's what we want to see. But remember, this show isn't about the Batman Rogues Gallery. It's about Penguin and his origin in this universe. That's what I'm excited to see. That's what I'm excited for. I don't need every other villain. I don't need gallery. I just need Penguin to become Penguin, and I want to see him do some crazy shit. That's what I want. So if the show was called Killer Croc, I wouldn't care about all the other characters. I would want to see Killer Croc either becoming the Killer Croc that we know from the comics, or already being Killer Croc and just doing some crazy Killer Croc shit. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I feel about it.
Okay. All right. So anything else, Penguin, before we move on to
No, that's it, man. It's just another fantastic episode,
two
and
more
like,
episodes?
yeah, man, I'm just excited to see where this is gonna go and how it's gonna end because I don't think that we're getting done, and I'm okay with it. I
You
don't
don't
think
think
that
what?
we
Who
need a
cut out?
whole
You don't
bunch
think
of.
what?
I don't think that we're gonna get a season 2 of this. I believe it's just a one season and done type of deal. I think that's all we're gonna get, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
That's kind of the impression I have too. Is we're one and done. Like it's a filler in between the movies.
Yeah, but if it's good like this, like leave it alone.
If you want another
Don't
movie
like.
or another show like this after Batman 2 comes out next year, right?
I think that they could get away with that by doing another.
When's Batman 2 come out?
We don't know yet.
Oh, well, never
Be
mind. Scrap
honest.
that idea. Anyways, you can do another something like this with another character, not necessarily Penguin, but
You could, but like, should they? Because
if they have a good
this could
story
be
to
a
fill.
lightning in the bottle situation. So like, maybe Penguin, the show is fantastic, it ends really well, and they just kind of leave it at that. And years down the line, maybe we get a show like this. But I don't want them to, keep making shows like this about the Rogues Gallery, and then that just become the new normal, and we don't get good stuff.
I mean, DC needs to do something, though, because they've had their head in their ass for a while. And this is one of the best things they've put out in a while.
Yeah, but this isn't even from the DC that we're getting for these new movies. This is
That's what I'm saying.
this is Elseworld stuff. We'll see what happens, man. Like I said, that's up to James Gunn and his team.
We can either get Penguin or
trust
we can
them.
get more Flash. And
I don't even think they're gonna do any more Flash for like the next few
Aquaman
years.
2.
I think they're gonna just wait on those characters. They're just gonna let that kind of die, and people forget about that before they start releasing.
We will not forget what you did to us. David Gordon Green, I'm talking to you too. You're not even in this conversation, but I'm bringing you back into it. All right. It is time that we move into our cinema for the week. Cue very long camera. I've got to figure out something different because this is ridiculous. Let's all go to the movies. I'm going to need Christian to silence his cell phone.
Never. I want to interrupt everyone.
All right. This week we talked about last week. We kind of changed it up a little bit, and we went with a movie that I had just seen, and I was kind of curious for Christian to see. And it'll be interesting to talk about. And that movie is called Nefarious. It is a movie from 2023 that stars Sean Patrick Flannery and Jordan Belfi. Okay, so first off, this is not a normal horror movie like we normally do. It's definitely very different from what we watched with the slasher The Burning last week. But it's a horror movie that explores the themes of faith and theology of evil. The movie is based on Steve Deasy's 2016 novel, A Nefarious Plot, which was written similar style to C.S. Lewis's The Screw Tape Letters. This movie is averaging 33% on the tomato meter score on Rotten Tomatoes. But although it grossed $5.4 million at the global box office, it earned an audience score of 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. The film centers on the psychiatrist assigned to analyze a convicted death row inmate believed to be faking demonic possession to avoid his sentence, all taking place in prison. And that is kind of a quick rundown of it. My first and foremost thought and note on this is Sean Patrick Flannery acts his ass off and carries this movie. And we lost.
That's the guy that's the
demon. Yeah, that's
prisoner.
that would be who plays. I just lost his name. Where'd he go? Edward Wayne Brady.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I knew that. I knew his name in that because every time they said his full name a bunch of times,
Yeah.
and every time they said it in the movie, I was just like, "Is Wayne Brady gonna help a bitch?"
Oh my god.
Like I couldn't help but think about that.
But no, he acts his ass off. I thought he did very, very well. And if you don't know if that name sounds familiar, he has been in Dexter. He was like a private investigator that was kind of into, I guess, a Deb love interest for a minute, sort of. It was her boss, essentially. But he's most notably known for Boondock Saints. He's the opposite of Norman Reedus.
Right, that's where I knew him from.
Yep.
I knew that guy.
Yeah. So, what did you think about his acting in it?
His acting was definitely like the best part. Like I really, really liked seeing him in the film. I really liked what he brought. I really liked his acting. I liked how he went from being, what was the demon's name? Nefarious.
Yeah, Nefarious.
No, but that's what the guy called him. But that pissed me off, to be honest with you. But we'll get into that in a second. Him being like the demon of the Nefarious, and then like switching back to being Eddie or Edward.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool because when he was Edward, like, god damn, I felt real bad for this guy. Yeah. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude.
He reminded me of oh shit. Oh, we just talked about him. Split. Like the way he could switch the personalities. Like, and it wasn't necessarily as drastic because what is that damn actor's name?
James McAvoy.
Yeah. Christian says it under his breath. Just kind of. Anyways, he switches between a lot of characters. Like, I can't even tell you how many different personalities he had. It was a lot. But the way he switched in this movie, I really liked. Just because you go from a very very evil, intelligent being to almost like just crying, miserable, I'm scared human. And he could just flip it like, that and just change. And that was one of the big parts that kept me interested in this movie was his acting in that. Because there's really no action, honestly. There's no action. Mm-hmm. There's no like crazy effects and stuff happening. I would say 90% of this movie is just straight dialogue. Just straight conversation. Back and forth between the two actors.
As far there were a lot of things about this that I really enjoyed. There were some things I didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
But as far as just the basic premise of this, like, it was nice and it was mostly well written. There was some stuff in here I was just like, what the hell? What are we talking about right now? But when it started off, it was great. Like I like it. It starts a slow burn movie. So when the characters finally meet and they're in their respective positions, the way that starts off, it's very slow to start up, and then it works its way up and works its way up, and then bam, there you go. The movie's only like an hour and a half, so it's not very long as a movie. But
doesn't need to be
for
long.
The characters
with what they're doing. I mean.
It doesn't need to be longer than it is, which is fantastic. But it's one of those movies that also could have been even shorter because there are scenes in this movie that could have been taken out and it wouldn't have added or taken away anything. They're just kind of in there. But like as far as likes, like I said, I really like this actor, his ability to switch between these two characters like on a whim. I really like the usage of the little bit of music that they had in this film because it wasn't a lot, so I like that. I really liked some of the main characters' like reactions to some things. Like I said, some of the things worked out. There's a part where a light bulb burst after our main villain pretty much tells the guy that he's a demon and he can do this and that and he can't die and blah blah blah. He's explaining all this shit to him. The guy doesn't believe him whatsoever, but the conversation is really intense. And then a light bulb explodes out of nowhere, and our main character, what's his name? James. Yeah. James gets scared. And I like that because only James was affected by that light blowing up, but our main guy, like not Eddie, we'll just call him for a minute. Like he didn't get scared at all. Like he just was sitting there still. So that was really cool to see. Um, like some of the things I didn't really care for. Like I didn't really care for like the demon knowing so much about James, and then you find out later on that he has this giant scrapbook full of this of James's life somehow that he has, and then he tells him that he's been following him since he was, a child, and I'm just like, how? When would this
And
have
why?
happened? How would this have happened? He asks him why, and he says, "You'll see." Then he tells him essentially that his master has plans for him, mentioning the devil essentially, and I'm just like, yo, you had me. You're starting to lose me. And there's a part that gripped me. Here's the thing. There's a scene in this film where James, the main character, doesn't believe anything this demon is saying. And I'm like, fair. He told you he's a demon and you don't believe him. Makes perfect sense. He starts sprouting off things about the main character's girlfriend and how she's about to have an abortion and about how he's condemning another life to hell and how they love that. And I'm just like, he tells him at the beginning of the conversation, at the end of our conversation, when this is done, you have killed 3 people.
Yep.
The first person was his mom, who we find out who died because he pulled the plug on her and that he didn't.
Euthanasia,
So,
pretty much.
yeah, for me, I was like, unless that shit happened right before he walked in here, that doesn't fucking count. That because we don't know how long ago that was. I don't think they say it in the
I
movie
would
how
assume
long
it's
ago
been a
it was.
while. I feel like it wasn't.
It was longer than a couple of weeks, so it shouldn't matter in this conversation. You can't just use that as one of the lives. And then the second life being this kid, this unborn child. Like we don't know how far along this woman is. How are we adding that? First off, how do you fucking know this information? And then second, why is that counting as a life? I knew as soon as he said that the last life was going to be his.
Yeah.
Because the whole movie is about him
being on death row.
Him telling the judge essentially like, yeah, he can sit in the chair. No, he can't sit in the chair because he's insane. Like, so we knew that was happening, but I was like, the demon's cooking the books a little bit here. I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, it's a demon though. Is it really gonna play fair?
It's not even about playing fair. Like, seriously, when he used the mom as the first death, I was like, dog.
But they use it as like James is arguing like, I didn't kill her, it was mercy, and he was like, that's what you tell yourself. But at the end of the day, you took her life. You chose for her life to be gone. Blah 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 was his whole play.
It's just like, get the
when he
fuck
said,
out
yeah,
of here,
I mean,
demon.
when he said, because he says it pretty early in the interview, he's like, before you leave here today, you will have killed 3 people. And I was just like, is he gonna kill a guard? Like,
that's what I thought.
Like,
I was
trying to figure out like, how is this about to play out? You know, it has to go to him though, because he tells him multiple times, you can't kill me, but I'm done with this body, so we're killing this body. Like, I want you to send me to the chair. That's it. Like, that's my goal, is I'm getting taken out tonight. So you know that one's coming.
The fucking meanest thing that demon has done or did throughout the entire movie was like take over this dude's body and then like tell the guard that he didn't want a last meal. That scene,
oh dude,
I
was like, damn, that's messed up. Because what does he say? He's like, I want a cheeseburger, and I was like, damn, that does sound. As I'm watching, I was like, that sounds good as hell. I want a cheeseburger and a milkshake.
Dude wanted a cheeseburger, fries, and a shake, extra thick. That's all he wanted.
Man,
the demon took that shit away, and I was like, you really are an evil son of a bitch, aren't you? That was the most evil
so
thing.
Pitiful. He's just like crying, sniffling, like he's like, please don't mess it up. I really want it. And the demon's like, I don't want an order. I'm like, you motherfucker.
And like didn't even let him know until the end of the movie.
Oh yeah.
God dang. You didn't have to do your boy like that. Like, God, Lee. That part, like, you're supposed to hate it, the demon, right? But like that part just made me mad. And then you get to here's the other thing. I know that you like this movie, and that's dope. I thought the movie was fine. But like, this part also pissed me off. We get to the end of the movie. He gets to the chair. He doesn't get his last meal, which I'm livid at this point because you didn't let dude eat. Like fuck off. He didn't eat. He gets killed, and then the demon's like, "Do you accept my master's offer?" It's like, "No, I don't accept your offer because all of a sudden I'm not a piece of shit anymore." Because he's like, he like euthanasia his mom, whatever. Okay, cool. You wanted the money, sure. He pretty much coaxed his girlfriend into getting an abortion because he wants to break up with her.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, you are trash.
Yeah.
And you wonder why this demon wants you. It's because you ain't shit. That's why. So all this shit is happening. And he even told the demon he can inhabit his body. Nothing happens. He's like, he doesn't happen. You didn't inhabit my body, blah, blah, blah. We get to the death. He fucking dies. And then all of a sudden, he's just inhabited by this demon a little bit. Enough to grab somebody's gun, put it to his neck or throat, excuse me, and pull the trigger. But it didn't go off. And at first I was like, oh, the safety's on. But then we cut to like a year later and he's just
Three
fine.
times. It didn't go off 3 times.
Yeah, he tried it 3 times. Yeah, so he did try it 3 times. But he's fine now. He's written the book that the demon told him he was going to write. And he says that he has changed the book up a bit to warn people about what was going on, what could happen, all this stuff. And what pisses me off is you get no resolution whatsoever. We don't know what the book was about first. We don't know what he changed. We don't know what any of that is supposed to mean. I think we know what the book is called, and we saw the cover for it, which thank fuck for that. But like, he leaves this interview at the end of the movie. The movie should have been over by this point. We go to do this, and then he sees a homeless person outside. Somebody experiencing homelessness. He gives them a $20 bill. They turn around and they say, "James, did you miss me?" But it's the demon's voice, and he starts laughing, and the movie goes off. And I'm just like, what is this? An episode of fucking Goosebumps? Like, get the fuck out of here! Like that part pissed me off because I was like, even we knew the demon wasn't just dead, right? Because it already said it couldn't die. It's gonna have another body, blah blah. So you mean to tell me this demon waited 1 year to the day, inhabited the body of a homeless person, some random homeless person who happened to be right outside of the studio that he was recording this interview in, that is televised or whatever, and then hit him up like, "Hey, did you miss me, motherfucker?" And then the movie goes off. Like, that's all you got for me? Like, you didn't give me nothing. It was a tease. I was just kind of pissed because I knew that the movie was a slow burn. I didn't look up any of the reviews or anything because I just watched this movie as blind as possible because that's what you were telling me last week. But like, there was literally nothing. It was like, this movie was like the equivalent of you talking to somebody and it being a real cool conversation, like somebody that you're into, right?
Yeah.
Somebody you're super attracted to. You guys are having a really good conversation, and then like things escalate and they just like tap you, just thump you around the dick, and then walk away. That's what that felt like. I was like,
so essentially they're just saying he's cursed. Like the demon's always going to be like after James doing his bidding. Right? Like I'm assuming that's what they're alluding to without them saying it. Like, I'm here. You're doing what I want you to do. You're doing exactly as I planned.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
But your plan was for him to become a good person? That's essentially what they're trying to show us in the movie.
Because all we hear is how he says he's a good person. He could still be a steaming pile of shit. We don't know.
He still could be a steaming pile of shit, but from what they showed, what the movie showed us,
the $20
not me guessing.
Changed.
Yeah, that's what they're showing us. Like, oh, he saw this homeless person and he's going to give him his last $20 because he's
that's
now
going to fix all the other bad shit, asshole.
But that's but they don't explain any of that in the movie. So in the movie, they only show us that piece.
Okay, so I was just playing off of that. There's a post-credit audio where the voice of Nefarious is heard saying in Latin, "You have been weighed in the balance and found wanting. You are stupid that you do not understand. It is to be continued."
They're not continuing that shit. I'm telling you right now.
No, there's not a 2. There's not a 2 for sure. But that's their whatever. And yeah, there's parts. This movie, without diving into it, goes into a lot of religious stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, demons. James is an atheist, right?
Yeah, he's an
Yeah,
atheist.
he's an atheist in the movie, and there's a whole lot of stuff around that. So I thought the movie was interesting. Obviously, like I'd want to see it again. To me, what carries it is Sean Patrick Flannery. I really enjoyed his acting. He carries it. But the caveat to that, while I think this movie was interesting, I agree with Christian's comments. There are stuff lacking in parts that you're like, that wasn't needed. Parts could be cut out. One being the scrapbook. We don't need a stalker scrapbook from a demon. I mean, you have all this information willy-nilly in your head you're just throwing out at somebody. You don't need a damn scrapbook under your bed. But whatever. Okay. This is not a movie, though, that I could watch over and over again like a Halloween. With that being said,
No.
this is I'll watch it, and I'm like, cool. And if I watch it again, like somebody wants to watch it later in the year and I'll watch it with them, okay. But this is not a movie I'm going to purposely go back to over and over again. I've seen it. Will I revisit it sometime? Yeah, probably. It's not. I don't think it's a bad movie. There are flaws in it, and it's interesting, and I feel like the acting is pretty solid. But, yeah. What other thoughts do you have, Christian?
The more I think about this movie, the more I actually don't like it.
Okay.
Like, if I had to review this movie with one sentence, and just being honest, I would say 90 minutes never felt so long, because this movie, it's like 98 minutes, right? So it's a little over an hour and a half, but it feels like it's 2.5 hours. And the reason why is it's not just because it's almost a single location thing. That's not the problem. It's because of what's happening, right? We get the demon talking, and the demon saying mostly some pretty cool shit to this character. His reactions are happening, but like, this movie seems like whoever wrote it thought that they were the smartest person in the room, and they wrote this script out, and it was really like intellectual from a demon slash regular person's standpoint, and the subject matter is like very topical and stuff, which, like I said, doesn't bother me at all, but it doesn't offer you anything. You know what I mean? Like, watching this movie, I feel nothing after it was over. That's the problem. Like, once the movie was over, I wasn't like, ah, damn, or I can't believe it, or I should have known, or I knew it. Like, none of that happened. It was just like, all right, it's over now. You know what I'm saying? And I think I sound like I'm shitting on this movie more so than what I want to. Like, this movie was fine. Like I said, it was just fine. Um, I don't think that it was like, out of 10, I would give it like a 5 or a 6. Like, would I watch this movie again? Yes, but I wouldn't watch it again this year. I would watch it again next year, like with somebody who hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
this is not a
Yeah.
repeat movie.
Yeah,
100%.
for sure.
It has
It's not a
something to be said
popcorn
that
movie
Mrs.
either.
Sin stayed awake for this movie, though. So the
Yeah.
dialogue
It's
was
interesting.
yeah,
It's so
it's
interesting.
enough that it's gonna keep your attention, because it is interesting and really good. Again, the acting, Sean Patrick Flannery's side of it, the demon, he does a good job. He keeps your attention. The dialogue is interesting. But yeah, so there's I think 6 is fair. I would say 6.5 probably 6.65. I don't think I'm gonna go above that.
That's fair.
Like, it's not.
That's fair.
And no, by no means, hopefully last week you guys didn't take that this is like a movie that blew my socks off. It's a movie I wanted to see. I saw a trailer and I was like, serial killer, death row. Seems interesting. Cool. Let's watch it. Spooky season perfect.
Oh, I got it. This movie reminded me a lot of what's that movie? Devil. It reminded me of Devil. You remember Devil, where with the elevator,
Shyamalan
everybody's stuck
movie?
on the elevator? Yeah, the Shyamalan movie,
Yeah.
where everybody's stuck on the elevator and
Yeah.
somebody's a demon or whatever. It reminded me a lot of that. You just strip that down, make it really bare bones. Like, that's kind of what this is. And like I said, I wasn't pissed off because the movie didn't have a good ending. I was pissed off because the ending that we got didn't mean anything. It would mean something if the demon was like, James, if you say no, I swear to God, I'll find you. and I'm gonna ruin your life, or I'm gonna kill you. Like anything. Like James, say yes, or we're gonna fuck you up. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but someday I'm gonna find you, I'm gonna kill you. Anything like that. And I'll just unplug my light on accident. Anything like that, and it would have been better. But because we didn't get that, it just kind of made it a little less, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you.
It felt the ending. The
do you
ending
think
was
the
flat.
demon already
That's
kind
what I'm
of
trying to
has
say.
James though, since he accepted him to come in?
Yeah, but that's the other thing. They don't really explain that. He already
you knew
said
that was
it.
bait though. Like James wasn't gonna get like all contorted and be like, "Rawr, demon, whatever." It's like he's literally playing chess with you right now. He's getting what he wants, but you're too stupid and naive to see that. Like he's like, "Yeah, for sake of argument, sure." And then later on, it's like, "Oh damn, I done messed up."
Yeah, but that's the other thing that kind of messed it up for me. He gives himself over. The demon takes him over for a second, but just like kind of, I have to believe one of two things. One, at the end of the movie, when James is being inhabited right by the demon, one or two things happen. One, demon's just not strong enough, or James's willpower is just so overpowering that he can't really do anything to him. Or it's not like a complete takeover, and that like I don't even know. Like it just seemed kind of pointless.
Doesn't he say
Why
something
take
like,
over?
"Oh God" or "God"? He does something.
No, he doesn't say anything. He just says, "Help me." That's all he says. He said he won't let me help me. But like the demon just makes him pull the trigger. Nothing happens. So I'm like, is this supposed to be like divine intervention? Like what's happening here? They don't explain it. It just happens, and then they go to a year later, like it's a TV show, right? A year later,
We could have done without the
and then
year.
yeah, it could have been. Seriously, the interview didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
At all. He could have just met the demon again later. Like
He could have walked outside
no
the prison,
reason.
and then the demon could have been like, "What up, bitch?"
Yeah, something.
And that could have been that.
But
it's like, yeah. Or you ready to write a book, bitch?
It's like two different people wrote this. It's like you had the person writing all the dialogue with James and the demon, and then after that they didn't have anything. And so somebody came and was like, "Here you go. Here's the ending." That's kind of what it felt like. But in a nutshell, the ending felt flat, and it didn't really give me a reason to want more. Like I don't want a second one because the ending was so flat for this one. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
But
I don't need any more.
With that being said, it's still better than Last Shift.
Oh yeah. Well, it is.
Wait, no, it's still better than better than Last Shift, and it's better than, let's go even farther back. What the whatever the first ever cinema was.
Oh, Jesus.
Both of those, it is light years ahead of that.
Yeah, those were a little rough. What do we have?
Kill It and Leave This Town.
Kill It and Leave This Town.
And
that's right.
Spirit Halloween, which was my fault. I still take. Yeah.
Spirit Halloween was hot garbage.
I mean,
hot garbage.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? Sometimes you get gems. Sometimes you don't. You know, it happens.
All right. Well, that's it for me, man. I got nothing else.
Okay. So I guess me and Christian are going to continue this segment. But the question is, do we keep it on the spooky side of things, or do we kind of open it up to different kinds of movies depending on what's out and what we wanted to fully discuss?
I mean, I think what we should do is leave that up to the listeners and ask them, like, hey, if we open this up for other types of movies, would you guys have more suggestions? And then check that next week and then see what they want us to watch.
And they could be around like the season, like, you know, like maybe some are more summer-ish / shark or whatever. I don't know. Obviously, we're not in summer, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, we're open to suggestions. If you guys got some, I'll say this: if you guys got some suggestions for like winter horror, I'm all ears. Let me know.
Okay, so how about this? Since spooky season's ending and you didn't let me watch it, I know we have a list, and we deviated from the list last week, and that's my fault. But you've already seen this, so it kind of ruins it. I was gonna suggest we do Caddo Lake for next week.
Actually, yeah. Well, yeah, you're right.
Do what?
You are right on that one.
What am I right about?
You were saying that you already seen this one, so it doesn't count. Did I finish that movie?
I don't know. I didn't watch it because you told me don't count it for spooky season, so I avoided it. But I want to
Yeah.
watch it. So we
Well,
could.
let's do that one then. Let's do that one.
If you want to lock that in, we can watch it on Max and we can call it a day. I know the missus would be stoked to watch that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, we'll do Caddo Lake, and then we still have those keeping up with the list. We still have Lamageddon. I feel like I need a break. My brain cells need a break every now and then, so we have to like deviate a little bit. Elf. Lamageddon, we have The Uninvited, which sounds really familiar. I feel like I've seen that. The Invitation also sounds familiar. No, what am I thinking of? There was a vampire movie recently. What the hell was that called? Was that not The Invitation?
Yeah, I think it was.
But this says 2015. I thought this was a more recent movie. And then the other one that I see that we have is on the list currently is Pulse, which I'm pretty sure I've seen. The Invitation. Oh, there was a 2022 Invitation. Is it the same thing?
Mm. No, the
this
2022
is the one I
is
watched.
the vampire
Yeah,
one.
where because it has all right, Game of Thrones, Grey Worm's love interest.
What's her name?
You know who I'm talking about.
Melisande?
Yeah. All right, what's the 2015 one? Is it not the same
That was
thing?
pretty good. No, it's different.
When a man accepts an invitation to go dinner party hosted by his ex-wife. Oh, that already sounds like not a good idea. Okay. Let the Right One In? You want that on the list, Elf? I'm A-okay with putting that. Okay. Which one is that? Let the Right One In?
Let the Right One In is the original one that's in a foreign language. Yeah.
I've seen both. I am A-okay with rewatching either for cinema.
Let the Right One In is one of my favorite books of all time.
Ooh. Is there an audiobook for that?
Yes.
Ooh.
I actually have never listened to the audiobook before, but I've read the novel like 2 or 3 times. I actually have it behind me somewhere.
Okay, I'm putting down the list for stuff. But yeah, keep suggestions coming. Let us know your suggestion. We'll definitely keep adding to the list. Ones we've already watched, Kill It and Leave This Town. Last Shift, Christian also watched Malum, which he loves so much. Triangle, The Burning, Jeepers Creepers, and now we watched Nefarious. Dude, I went blank on that movie for a minute. And
real quick, did you see the trailer for the Ghostface character in MK?
I did not.
They released it and they showed a bunch of masks that you can get. I just sent it to you so you can see.
Ooh, I like Devil already.
Yeah, read to everybody like what the masks are real quick.
The masks are aged. MK, which looks like Scorpion. Tarkat. Scarecrow, which is kind of dope. Cyborg, Devil, Metal, Bloody, and OG.
What are your 3 favorites?
3 favorites off this, just looking. Aged.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I like Devil, but Devil.
Probably because it's red.
Because it's what?
It's like red stands out.
Maybe. I don't know. It's either between Devil and Scarecrow for one of them, and then OG probably just because I'm always a fan of the OG stuff.
Yeah. So you already said it, but you got the age mask, the MK, which you said it's just Scorpion's little yellow face mask. Scorpion. You got Tarkat, which is like Tarkatan's like Baraka, with the teeth and the horns coming out the face. Devil, which everybody's seen. Cyborg, which looks really fucking weird, to be honest. It kind of reminds me of like Yoshimitsu from specifically from Soul Calibur. You got the Scarecrow one, you got the Metal one, and you got the OG. I think my favorites are OG, Bloody, and Metal. Those are my favorite ones. Those are honestly going to be the ones that I use pretty much all the time. I might switch out for Devil if I'm like feeling real saucy, but OG, Bloody, and Metal, those are the ones, dude. Those are it for me. Feeling saucy. But anyway,
All right.
that's it for us. That's it. We locked the movie in. We're ready to go. Let the right one in. I'm definitely excited to watch that one again. It's been a while. I purposely haven't watched that movie in like 2
We need
years.
to find where it's at, but yeah.
I actually owned that one via Amazon. I bought it on accident like 4 years ago, and it's on my account, so I can watch it whenever. But I don't know where it's currently streaming. I can look that up while you are speaking.
Okay. So, you know what? Hold on. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to try to get ahead of the game because I
It's
feel
on
like...
Peacock right now.
Do what?
It's on Peacock and Tubi right now.
Okay. Man. Do you want a column? Or do you want to pick one from each row?
What do you mean?
Just answer my question. Don't worry about it. Just answer my question.
We'll pick.
You have 3 columns. You can pick one column.
Oh, let me pick a column then.
Pick one from each row, and you have A, B, C, D rows. So
let me pick one from each. Let me pick one from each because that sounds like
we're gonna do that then.
Bet.
All right. So now that we've discussed that openly on the podcast, it is time that we
pass the whiskey.
That's right. Get your whiskey. As we go into our last call question, and I am taking charge this week, so all y'all can deal with it. But I'm about to send Christian this image I am looking at, so he may also pick his stuff and things. Okay. Christian should be coming through. Let me know when you see it. While Christian is waiting, Christian should be coming through via text message.
It's trying to load.
Okay. While he's doing that, I will read to you guys this week's last call question. We're going to pick one from each row. We have 4 rows. We have A, B, C, and D. In row A, we have... Oh, no, I closed it out. We have Friday the 13th, the remake that Christian seems to love so much. We have Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. We have... I can't read that, and I closed out of it again. Oh, my God. Anaconda. Wow, that was a struggle. Faculty, Army of Darkness, and Dreamcatcher. Row, I guess we'll just start with row A because you pick one from each row. All right, Christian. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Anaconda, Faculty, Army of Darkness, and Dreamcatcher.
Okay, so for me, I'm going to pick
God dang
the Faculty.
Which one?
I'm picking the Faculty.
Okay. See,
100%.
I feel like everybody's going to expect me to pick Nightmare, and I really want to pick Nightmare. But God dang, I love Army of Darkness.
Which one you pick with your heart, dog? Which one?
Army of Darkness. I love that movie.
That's how I feel about the Faculty, man. I love that movie.
Look at us, not going with the slashers, man. We just completely curveballed everybody on row A. Row B, Halloween H2O. Jesus Christ, you just have to. Oh, this one's gonna be hard for. No, it ain't. Halloween H2O, The Haunting, Scream, Dawn of the Dead, Darkness Falls, and Urban Legend. I mean, we all know. Christian, go ahead and confirm where you're at.
That'll be Scream for me. The original, 96. Let's go. You knew I was picking.
I knew exactly what you're picking. Look, I want to go with you on that. And if I didn't go that route, I would think hard about Dawn of the Dead. I kind of feel like I have to do H2O. I don't know why that's a guilty pleasure movie for me, but I really do like H2O.
I love H2O as well, but Scream is just like...
I know.
Scream is even
you
playing.
Like Scream. I like Scream, but you like Scream more than I do. Like, you put Ghostface
Scream
up higher
is even...
than I do.
They're watching Scream 2 during the movie Halloween H2O. It's in the background.
Doesn't matter.
So...
All right. Did you guys expect that? I mean, that one was a pretty easy one. C, row 3 will be, I know what you did last
Let me
summer.
read this one. Let me read this one.
Okay, go for it.
Let me read this one.
You read the last 2. Quit making me read everything.
Column C, we have I Know What You Did Last Summer, Tales from the Dark Side, House on Haunted Hill, Lake Placid, The Lost Boys, or The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original.
Man.
I know what I'm picking. I know what I'm picking. I got it. It's actually quite easy for me. I'm gonna go ahead and let you think. I'm picking Lost Boys.
I'm with you on that. Reason. Look, Texas Chainsaw's right there, and I love Texas Chainsaw, but damn, her screaming gets on my last nerve. So I'm going Lost Boys with it.
All right, so the last column, which is column D, we have the original 90s miniseries It.
I'm not even.
We got Leprechaun, Freddy vs. Jason, Halloween 1978, Tremors, or Bride of Chucky.
Let me think very hard.
I wonder what we're both gonna go with.
Halloween.
Choose.
You put Halloween in any list, and you're like, pick the horror movie. Halloween.
100%.
That went by really quick. So I'm gonna give you one more if you want, just because I had these kind of ready for this season and we didn't get to use them. Do you want to do a 3 column? You pick 1 column, or do you want to do you can rent 3 and it's a whole bunch?
Let's do a rent 3, and I'm gonna try to do it as quickly as possible because I am out of time. I keep kicking the cable that has my light.
This is a lot to read. So while Christian's getting the text, I will start reading the movies so he can see and pick his 3. Okay, this is a blockbuster. Those that listen, children, if you are listening and you don't remember, once upon a time we used to rent movies from movie stores. We had to go actually get physical media. It was a thing. It was a lot of fun, and you missed out. So you can only rent 3, and I'm assuming like the rest just you never get to see them, right? Like this is your 3 you're picking forever. The Thing, dude, what? Some of this stuff you can't read. That looks like The Shining, but I could be wrong. The Fly, Puppet Master, Reanimator, Videodrome, Critters, Prom Night, Faces of Death, Nightmare on Elm Street, Fright Night, Day of the Dead, Night of the Demons, Slumber Party Massacre, Sleepaway Camp, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Chud, The Ring, Evil Dead, Hellraiser, The Howling, Friday the 13th, Creep Show, Manic Cop, House, The Monster Squad. Does that say Terrifier?
Where are you?
That is not Terrifier, is it? Actually, is that Terrifier? No. How is that on here?
That can't be on the list. That's what it looks like.
You see it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's right because these are like older movies. Gremlins, Children of the Corn, Child's Play, Ghostbusters, Bad Taste, The Blob, Pumpkinhead, American Werewolf in London, The Devil's Rejects, Poltergeist, Lost Boys, Return of the Living Dead, Demons, something. I can't tell what that is. Oh, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Halloween, Beetlejuice, Phenomenon, House of a Thousand Corpses, It's Alive, The Burning Psycho, Phantasm, The Gate, Motel Hell, Maniac, Cannibal Holocaust, and Saw. Man. We can only pick 3.
Okay.
All right, going to knock 1 off. Halloween. Easy.
I think for me, I'm choosing The Thing, The Blob, and Halloween. That's really hard, though, because I could easily take out The Blob and choose Hellraiser. Actually, I think I'm going The Thing, Hellraiser, Halloween. That's what I'm choosing. I really want to choose The Blob, but, like, Hellraiser is fantastic.
I mean, I want to say Halloween. I kind of want to go American Werewolf in London.
Okay, go for it.
And just to kind of like round this off, man, I want to say Monster Squad.
That's also a good choice.
Wolfman has nards.
Nards indeed. Nards indeed, children.
Ooh, or Evil Dead. Damn. Or Friday the 13th. Damn. Oh, Ghostbusters. Damn, I did love Ghostbusters. I feel like I have to like hit one of my childhood ones too, though.
Here.
It's just kind of tough. Let's go Saw. Screw it.
Okay.
All right, do you want to do the column while we're at it, just to knock all these out? Christian's like,
chose one.
huh?
Chose one.
No, a column. The column.
Oh. I have to choose a column?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's like you pick one column, rest. All right, final thing. We're like jam-packing everything literally in our freaking last call. I saved this up for spooky season. All right. So the column, unless Christian gets this like right now. Do you have it?
I don't. It's loading.
I'm just going to let Christian.
No, there we go. I got it.
Okay, Christian can read this one. You have 3 columns. You pick one column. The rest are gone.
Okay, column A, Halloween, Child's Play, Scream, The Conjuring universe.
Okay. Christian doesn't have to read anymore because we know which one he's taking.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, Halloween and Scream are in the same column with Alien. It's done. He's not. There ain't a chance in hell for any other one. All right, go through the rest of them. We'll see.
All right, so I'll start over real quick and we'll just speed through. Halloween, Child's Play, Scream, The Conjuring universe, Halloween, Candyman, Phantasm, The Purge, Ju-on. Like Ju-on, bro. That's the column for me. The next column, column B, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Evil Dead, George A. Romero's Of the Dead, it's a whole series, Critters, Psycho, Puppet Master, Paranormal Activity, and Ring. And then in column C, Friday the 13th, Hellraiser, Saw, The Exorcist, Predator, Final Destination, Tremors, Resident Evil, and Leprechaun.
I mean, column A wins. That's not fair.
There is no column better.
Okay, let's take column A out.
because-
You have to choose between column B, 2, and 3. Because column A is too stacked, honestly. I think I have to go. Man, I might have to go 2.
Between column B and C, or 2 and 3, however you want to word those. Probably, I guess the second one, because the Nightmare on you have night. So for me, Nightmare on Elm Street, Evil Dead,
Yep. Of the Dead.
Of the Dead series, like those are heavy hitters. In column 3, you have the Friday the 13th series, Hellraiser, which more than half of the Hellraiser movies are garbage. Saw, The Exorcist, Predator, Final Destination, Tremors. I'm still gonna stick with the second one.
I'm going 2 just because Resident Evil makes me mad. And I'm not trying to get mad.
That's fair. I mean, I think with Friday the 13th, Hellraiser, Saw, like 2 of the Exorcist movies, 2 of the Predator movies. Final Destination can be fun. Tremors, the first 3. But when you go to like Nightmare on Elm Street, at least the first 5 of them are watchable. They're not great at all by any means, but like 1, 2, and 3, fantastic. 4, 5, not really. Then you get to like New Nightmare, which is also Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, you know what you're getting. Evil Dead, pretty much everything that they have. The Of the Dead series, about half of that, if not more. Critters, Psycho, at least the first and second. Puppet Master, it's just a fun time. Paranormal Activity, at least 1, 2, and 3. And then with the Ring, like, they're pretty fun. So I'm going to go with number 2, but that was a tough one. Column A clearly is the most stacked column.
All right, fun, kind of lightning round pick'ems for us for the spooky season. Hopefully this ended well. I mean, by the time you guys get to hear that, if you didn't watch live on Kick, then spooky season is kind of ended, unless you're like us, and then which it never ends. But that is it for spooky season. Obviously, the spooky content doesn't stop. We will continue rolling along with more fun spooky stuff, and I'm sure Cinema will have lots more horror movies. If you want us to include some other movies, some action, some revenge flicks, some whatever, comic movies, whatever. If you just let us know what you would like us to do in Cinema and keep that segment going. It's fun.
Comic book movies, you say?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Get back.
Oh, yes. You messed up.
No.
You just opened a can of worms.
No.
Can't wait. Comic book movies, let's go.
No.
Speaking of comic books, I just opened up a
Jesus.
new box at my local comic book shop. I can't wait. Anyway, guys, that's everything.
Yep.
We've exhausted ourselves. My throat is just... my voice is going away. is what I'm trying to say.
All these episodes
like,
have been
I
so
guess we
damn
should
long
have-
anymore. So if you make it this far, you're a real one. We appreciate it. They've definitely evolved. Like damn near doubled the episodes since when we started 119 episodes ago. But appreciate you all for listening. Thanks for being here. And be sure to check new episodes out every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Central Time on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and my YouTube, youtube.com/IamSinister. Hit us up on the social medias. Let us know what cinema movie you would like us to check out. If you'd like us to check a different genre other than horror, as well as drop your last call questions and stuff like that and talk to us about episodes. Sippin With Sin, SIPPIM with Sin, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, all that stuff. Check us out there. We live stream these episodes on kick.com/IamSinister. We might be moving it to Wednesday. I don't know. It depends on what Christian thinks. Same day the episode comes out, so you may just get all your Sippin With Sin on Wednesdays. But they have been on Thursdays. But just keep an eye on socials and stuff like that. And if we change it, we'll let you guys know. But that's where you can find us. Let us know all the stuff and things. Join the Discord. My Discord link should be in the description somewhere. And there's a whole section for Sippin With Sin. You can check that out there. And then, of course, you can find me on my socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff. I Am Sinister TV, Twitch. And then you can find me streaming over at kick.com/IamSinister. And you can find me at youtube.com/IamSinister, where the Sippin With Sin episodes actually also get posted. You can find my other podcast, Behind the Vocals. She'll be picking back up soon. Apple, Spotify, and youtube.com/IamSinister. That's where you can find all my stuff and things. And Christian, where can the lovely folks find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Vin and Ink. That's going to be all one word. You guys can also follow me on the TikTok at my full name, Christian Vincent. Contrary to popular belief, I don't like social media all that much, so that's the only two places you guys can find me. I'm excited to see you guys. I have some stuff being posted by the time this is posted, and come say hi. Come look at what I have to show you guys.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, what goes bump in the night may be gone, or so you think, but it's really not. So it's time for you to go home. Go through the streets alone. Be brave. Always check out for the shadows that move and the noises and all that good stuff. But you don't have to go home. You just got to get the hell up out of here. It's time for Christian to shut it down. We're done with you for this week. We'll see you guys next week.
Guys, thank you so much again for tuning into another episode. If you guys have stuck around this long, you are in fact real. I have a lot to say all the time, but I'm going to make it short and sweet so we can get to our sweet, sweet, glorious day of Sam Hain. Just kidding. Samhain. But guys, I'm going to leave you 3 words. 3 words leave you with every episode. If you guys have been here before, say it with me. If you've never been here before, listen very carefully because they might just save your life. Those 3 words are, don't get nutted.
See you guys next week.